Hello everybody, my name is Ray Buckland. Today I'm going to be fletching some of my newer arrow shafts that I've got. Those arrow shafts are Easton Axis and fused carbon arrows. So these are, the difference between these and the normal carbons is these are a little bit thinner, so we're going to have to be kind of careful when we start fletching these types of arrows. Things we're going to be needing, of course, is a fletching tool. So we'll move this camera over here. You can see the fletching tool right here, which is an Easy Arizona fletch. A little cap that belongs to it. Of course, your three feathers. In this case, I'm using blue, red, and a black feather. A little piece of sandpaper to do your sanding your shaft down. A little bit of glue. This is a Bonin Fletch Tight. I find this to be really good for doing feathers. And some rubbing alcohol with a little rag. Okay, first thing before we do anything, we take our little shaft here, and on this back end where the knock is, just about that much of it, we're going to sand that down just to take the glaze or the shininess off the shaft itself, and not a lot, just a little bit. Doesn't take very much to do it. Just kind of run it over it. By sanding it just lightly, takes off any oils or dirt that was on the shaft during the making. Also gives the glue something to bite into as we glue the fletchings on. Otherwise they'll just peel off as we shoot it. Take a rubbing alcohol here, a little rag, and you can see there's a little bit of rubbing alcohol right there. And we just wipe the shaft down. Rubbing alcohol will remove any excess particles, dirt and grime and stuff off the shaft itself. Lightly wipe it down. As you can see, the shaft is still in great shape. There's nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't shine as much as it did before. Take a little Easy Arizona fletch here. Get rid of that. And open it up. To open this up, it's pretty simple. This is in a closed position. You remove your cap. You grab the slip ring right here. You push up and give it a little bit of a twist and let go, and that way we can open up the deal completely. Take your arrow shaft here. Now another little thing that the Arizona Easy Fletcher does that you can do is that you can actually turn the knocking point here inside to wherever, however you set up on your bow. In my case, I put the cock feather out, so if you're doing it where the cock feather is down or up, you just rotate it a couple clicks, and that puts the knock in line with the cock feather. Make sure mine's set up right. Yep, there it is. Next thing we do, my black feather is my cock feather. You just insert that right here. It's going to be a little tight. You don't go in all the way to the back yet. You start off about halfway up, and you just slide it down until you see it, the back of the feather hitting the back end of the fletching tool. Get a red feather, put that in its spot. Do the same thing. It's kind of tight. Doing feathers is a little bit more complicated than doing regular vanes, but I'm not a vane shooter, I'm a feather shooter, so when you use vanes they just pop right in there. Again, start up about halfway up the fletching tool itself and just slide it down nice and easy until it matches up. Just like so. So you have all three feathers inside. Take our glue. Now this is where a lot of people have some difficulty with, and it takes a little bit of work to do it. I find just putting a small bead of glue across the entire fletching base. Like so. Don't use a whole lot, just a little bit where you can see just a small bead. You can do it several different ways. This way works best for me. Put your cap back on the bottle. Okay, you notice there's not a whole lot of glue on those feathers. Just kind of make sure you got enough covered on the fletchings themselves. Now what we do is we close these up like so. Set it down, and I put my hands right there. Flat on your top cap. Just like so. Line up the notches and push down. Now before we close it up, we're going to look in between the feathers, through these little gaps, and make sure the feathers didn't get twisted or flipped over while we're putting it all together. Now to put the base back on there, we hold on to the slip ring here, we push up, give it a little bit of a twist, and pull down a little bit on the ring, and that's where it's fully closed. It's a pretty simple little tool here. That's the back out of it. Nope. It's a pretty simple little tool. It's easy enough. I marked mine according to the colors I'm using. The black feather is my cock feather, so that's on the lighter color arm. Then we'll come back, wait about 15 minutes, and see how it all goes. Now we're going to be taking this thing apart. There's the shaft and everything. Went about 15 minutes or so to gluing. First thing we do before we do anything, you can't pull the top off because I had some bad luck a couple of times. First thing we do, we just grab the slip ring, of course, here, push up, give it a little bit of twist, and now we'll lock it down like so. Now, I grip it right about here before I pull the cap off, because sometimes I've had it where I pull this cap off and it pulled the arrow off with it. So release your grip. Now we carefully pull each arm down of the Easy Arizona Fletch like so. Pretty simple. This is a helical fletching tool. As you can see, they have a nice little twist to them. There we go. We're pretty well almost done. Well, I've got to find my glue again. Now, before we get done, when we do feathers, this little point here has got a sharp edge. And if I find it best, if you take a little glue here, we just put a little dab of glue right on the leading edge of the feather. So in case you go through your target or something, it's not going to peel your feathers completely off the shaft. Just a little bit of glue right there on each one of the feathers. You don't need a whole lot, just a little bit. Pretty simple little fix. And there we go. And now we're done.